When Ryan Ward kicked his pregnant wife out of their mansion at midnight, he believed he was finally free. Free from what he called a dead-weight marriage and a woman who had nothing to offer. He didn't know he had just destroyed himself. Emily Ward stood on the front steps, barefoot, her suitcase sliding from her trembling hands. Behind her, the door slammed shut, and through the tall windows, she saw Ryan's mistress, Vanessa Hale, swirling a glass of champagne, laughing like she'd won. The neighbors whispered, the lights across the street flickered, and somewhere deep in Emily's phone, an unread message glowed. Your father prepared for this. To the world, her father had died an ordinary man. But buried beneath years of secrecy was a legacy worth hundreds of millions, and a clause written in ink that would make Emily the rightful heir once she was betrayed. That night, Ryan thought he had ended her story. What he didn't know was that he had just triggered her inheritance, her revenge, and the quiet rise of the woman who would one day own everything he built and everything he lost. Hello, family. Welcome back. Before we begin, please click subscribe. Every single click helps us tell stories of courage and truth, and in the comments, tell us where you're watching from. Because when we share these stories together, we remind each other that even in pain, we can rise. Pack your things and get out! Ryan Ward's roar shook the marble-floored living room. A glass of whiskey slammed against the wall, splintering into amber rain. Emily flinched, clutching her round belly, as if protecting the tiny heartbeat inside. She stood barefoot in her pale nightgown, her long brown hair tangled from sleepless nights. Ryan, please, she begged softly. I just need time. The hospital bills my check clears next week. Ryan's jaw flexed, eyes glinting like shards of ice. Time? You've had years, Emily. You're nothing but dead weight. The words struck like bullets. I married you out of pity, not potential. You've done nothing but drag me down. A cruel laugh came from behind him. Victoria Hale, his business consultant, leaned against the doorframe, arms crossed, perfume thick in the air. Her red lips curled. She's just emotional, Ryan. Pregnancy hormones, she cooed, pretending concern while feeding the fire. Emily's eyes darted toward her. You shouldn't even be here, she whispered, trembling. Victoria smirked. Oh, sweetheart, I've been here long before tonight. He just finally stopped pretending. The air turned heavy. Emily's heartbeat thundered in her ears. She took a shaky step closer to Ryan, tears streaking down her cheeks. After everything I gave up for you, my father's company offer, my job. Ryan barked a laugh. Your father? That broke dreamer who died with debt? Please. I built everything here. You just lived in it. The insult sliced through her like glass. She pressed her lips together, refusing to cry harder. The humiliation, gaslighting, and emotional abuse filled every inch of that glittering house. From outside, a soft voice broke through the tension. Mrs. Green, their elderly neighbor, stood at the doorway, clutching her cardigan. Ryan, she's pregnant. Don't do this, son. Not tonight. He turned, snapping. Stay out of this, Mrs. Green. She's not my problem anymore. Emily's suitcase, already packed by the maid under Victoria's orders, sat near the staircase. She stared at it, realizing the betrayal was premeditated. Ryan had planned her removal like a business deal. Her shaking hands reached for the suitcase handle, but her voice came out calm, chilling even to herself. One day, Ryan, you'll wish you hadn't called me dead weight. Ryan smirked, pouring another drink. The only thing heavy about you is your silence. Now take it with you. The front door creaked open. The night wind was cold, almost cleansing. Mrs. Green whispered, You're stronger than you think, dear. Sometimes silence has power. Emily stepped onto the porch, moonlight washing her tears. Her phone vibrated. She glanced down. Unknown number. Your father prepared for this. Her throat tightened. Her father, gone for years, had left nothing but questions, but that single message felt like a promise from beyond. As Emily walked away under the cold night sky, Victoria's laughter echoed through the mansion. Inside, Ryan's voice boomed again. Tomorrow we celebrate freedom. But by tomorrow night, that very word freedom would destroy him. The music was deafening. Glasses clinked. Laughter spilled like cheap champagne across the rooftop of the Meridian Hotel, where city lights shimmered and lies wore diamonds. Ryan Ward stood in the center, dressed in a navy tuxedo, his smile wider than his conscience. In his hand, a glass raised high. "To freedom!" he shouted over the crowd. "To a future without dead weight." Everyone laughed, not knowing his pregnant wife was walking alone somewhere in the cold night. Vanessa Hale, a glamorous woman with crimson lipstick and eyes like sharp glass, looped her arm through Ryan's and kissed his cheek. "Freedom never looked so handsome," she purred. Vanessa wasn't just a mistress, she was his new business partner and the architect of his destruction. The guests, investors, friends, influencers erupted in applause. Among them stood Victoria Hale, Vanessa's cousin, and the same woman who'd filmed Emily's humiliation the night before. She raised her phone again, capturing Ryan's toast for social media. "You've got to show people what a real power couple looks like," she whispered. Ryan smirked. "Oh, they'll see power tonight." But at the corner table, one man didn't laugh. Blake Turner, a seasoned investor with gray at his temples, and the suspicion in his eyes swirled his drink silently. He'd known Ryan for years and had always wondered how he expanded his real estate firm so quickly. As he watched Vanessa's ring sparkle under the golden lights, his gut twisted. "Something's off," he murmured to himself. Vanessa clinked her glass. "Don't look so serious, Blake. Love and money, the best investments." Blake's voice was cool. "Maybe, unless the paperwork isn't clean." Ryan's eyes narrowed, but his smile stayed fixed. "Relax, Blake. Everything's handled. The prenup is airtight." She left with nothing. The word echoed in his mind. Prenup. The ironclad prenup he had made Emily sign the week she learned she was pregnant. It stated that if she left him, she'd lose all rights to his assets, but he never imagined there was something larger at play, something beyond his reach. As the laughter roared again, Vanessa leaned in, whispering in his ear, "You're finally free, Ryan. Now you can take full control. And once my cousin finishes editing that clip of Emily crying on the floor, the whole city will side with you." Ryan grinned, raising his glass once more. To new beginnings. But outside, a different kind of beginning was already unfolding. Emily, guided by that strange text from the unknown number, had taken the night bus toward the city. Her hand clutched her belly. Her mind replayed his words, "dead weight." She didn't know yet that her father's name still lingered in the boardrooms of the same skyline that glittered before him. Back on the rooftop, Blake's phone buzzed with a notification, a news alert, about a reopened corporate trust fund tied to Ward Holdings. His brow furrowed. "Ward Holdings," he muttered. "Isn't that Emily's maiden name?" Ryan didn't hear him. He was too busy basking in the cheers, in the illusion of victory. As Ryan lifted his glass again, lightning flickered in the distance far beyond the city's glow, and Blake Turner whispered to himself, "No contract stays clean forever." And by the next morning, he'd be right. The morning headlines hit like gunfire. Ryan Ward celebrates freedom with new love. Photos of Ryan and Vanessa Hale laughing at the rooftop party spread across every gossip site. One image showed him mid-toast. The caption cruelly bold, "To freedom, the CEO moves on." Across town, Emily Ward sat in a small diner booth, her trembling fingers wrapped around a cup of untouched coffee. Her belly shifted gently beneath her coat, a soft reminder of the life she was fighting for. The waitress slid her a newspaper, pity in her eyes. "Honey, you should see this before everyone else does." Emily looked down and froze. There she was, mentioned in the second paragraph. Sources say his ex-wife struggled financially and emotionally during pregnancy. Close friends claim she was unfit to manage the household. Betrayal. Character assassination. Each word sank like a knife. At a corner table, Mrs. Turner, an older neighbor from her old street, gossiped loudly to another woman. "I heard she was unstable." Poor Ryan had no choice. Emily's eyes stung, but she stayed silent. Her father once said, "Never fight lies with noise, fight with truth." Across town, Ryan leaned back in his office chair, feet on the desk, scrolling through the article with satisfaction. "Perfect optics," he said smugly. "Public sympathy's mine." Victoria Hale, Vanessa's cousin and his PR accomplice, stood nearby, grinning. "We spun it well. Everyone believes you were the victim of an emotional breakdown." Vanessa brushed his shoulder with her manicured hand. "Now that she's out, we can focus on what matters, expanding the business. And don't worry, I told Trevor to handle those accounts." At that name, Ryan frowned. "Trevor Cole? He's just my accountant. Keep him quiet." Victoria smirked. "Quiet is expensive, Ryan." But I already paid him to stay loyal. Trevor Cole, sitting in a downtown cafe across from them, wasn't loyal at all. The thin accountant scrolled through his messages, shaking his head. He'd just received an anonymous email. "You've been named in a financial audit. Talk now or fall with him." Sweat gathered at his temple. The whisper network of corruption had begun to crack. Meanwhile, Emily paid for her untouched coffee and stepped out into the wind. She spotted two women whispering by the bus stop, both glancing at her. The first whispered, "That's her, the wife he dumped." The second muttered, "She looks lost." Humiliation burned through her, but only for a second. She exhaled deeply and whispered to herself, "They can keep their pity. I'll keep my truth." As she walked away, her phone buzzed again. Unknown number. Find Clara Reed. Her breath caught. Clara, her old college roommate, was now a respected lawyer. Her father had trusted Clara once, years ago, to draft emergency papers. Emily suddenly understood. That mysterious message wasn't random. Someone was guiding her. The reflection in a store window showed her tear-streaked face harden into quiet resolve. The soft wife had vanished. In her place stood a woman preparing for war. As Emily disappeared into the gray morning, the newspaper in the trash fluttered open in the wind, revealing one small headline few noticed. Ward Holdings, Legacy Trust reinstated under confidential clause. And somewhere downtown, a lawyer named Clara Reed was already waiting for her call. The sound of heavy rain against glass echoed through the quiet law office as Emily Ward burst through the door, soaked to the skin, clutching her phone. "I need to see Clara Reed," she gasped, her breath uneven. Behind a sleek walnut desk, Clara Reed, a calm, sharp-eyed woman in her mid-30s, looked up from her laptop. She wore a navy blazer and the kind of confidence that came from surviving her own storms. "Emily?" she said softly, standing. "It's been years," Emily's voice cracked. "I got a message it said to find you." Clara closed the door, locking it. "Then it started," she murmured, pulling out a folder with Emily's maiden name, Ward, embossed on it. "Your father told me this day would come." Emily froze. "My father?" Clara nodded gravely. "Before he passed, Henry Ward gave me sealed instructions, a private trust document only to be opened if you were ever betrayed in marriage. He never trusted Ryan. He said, and I quote, 'One day the mask will slip.'" Emily's knees weakened. She sank into the chair opposite Clara as thunder rolled outside. Clara placed the folder on the table and opened it. Inside were property deeds, signed affidavits, notarized company shares, and a letter labeled, "For Emily only if wronged." The room fell silent. Emily's trembling fingers brushed the edges of the documents. All this time, he left something? From the corner, Sam Hayes, a private investigator and one of Clara's most loyal associates, stepped forward. Tall, quiet, with a face carved by experience, he spoke in a low voice. "Your father built layers of protection, Emily shell companies, legal trusts, hidden assets. Ward Holdings wasn't dissolved. It was hidden." Emily looked up, eyes wide. "Hidden? Why?" "Because your father knew the world," Clara said gently. "He knew greedy men like Ryan would come for you the moment they smelled weakness. Henry wanted you to have power when you needed it most." Emily's tears fell silently. Female resilience, legacy, father's wisdom, trust, and dignity under fire wrapped around her like armor. "Ryan called me dead weight," she whispered, voice shaking. "But my father saw me as strength." Clara leaned forward, tone firm. "Then let's use that strength. These documents prove Ryan owes the Ward Trust $20 million in unpaid investment returns. You can take back what's yours legally, quietly," Sam added. "But you'll need patience. If he thinks you're weak, he'll reveal every card he's hiding." Emily wiped her tears, a spark of determination rising. "Then I'll play along. Let him think I'm broken." Clara smiled faintly. "That's exactly what your father would have done." Outside, the storm began to ease. Inside, Emily straightened her posture. The helpless woman who begged on the porch was gone. In her place stood a strategist, calm, wounded, but rising. As Clara slid the folder toward her, a single gold seal caught the light, stamped with the Ward family crest. "You're not just Henry Ward's daughter anymore," Clara said quietly. "You're his heir, but someone else already suspects that." And far across town, A nervous accountant named Trevor Cole was about to make the first mistake of his life. The sound of printer machines whirring filled the office. Pages of forensic documents, bank statements, and wire transfers slid out one by one, piling into a mountain of proof. Emily Ward stood at the center of it all, her hands trembling slightly as she read the first sheet. "This can't be real," she whispered. "Ryan's been stealing from his investors?" Clara Reed, sharp as ever, adjusted her glasses. "Not just investors. He's been embezzling from the same capital your father loaned him. Every dollar he used to start his empire came from Henry Ward's trust, and he never paid it back." Sam Hayes, the private investigator, stood by the whiteboard plastered with sticky notes and red strings connecting Ryan's fake companies. "See these?" he said, pointing at names. "Bluecrest Developments, Haverson Limited, Myra Realty, all shell companies under Ryan's control. He used them to move money offshore." At the far end of the room, a new face leaned forward from her laptop. Laura Kim, a quiet but brilliant financial analyst, typed rapidly, eyes locked on the screen. "I traced the pattern. He falsified property valuations, took loans against non-existent assets, then wired the funds to the Caymans." She looked up, her calm voice edged with disbelief. "This isn't business, it's organized fraud." The intensity in the room thickened. Emily's heart pounded. She remembered Ryan's words, "You're nothing but dead weight." The irony made her stomach twist. Now she realized that while she'd been crying at home, he'd been using her late father's money to build a stolen kingdom. "Can we prove it?" she asked quietly. Laura nodded. "Yes, but timing is key. If we go public too soon, he'll move the rest of the funds," Clara added. "We don't strike now, we prepare. We let him get comfortable, overconfident." Sam smirked. "And we make sure every lie he tells digs his own grave." Emily stared at the documents again, the paper trembling in her grip. Female resilience, quiet strength, tactical silence. Her father's lessons came rushing back. "Then we wait," she said. "Let him think I'm weak. Let him think he's won. And when the moment comes," her voice hardened, "he'll watch everything crumble." The room fell silent, the storm of plans settling into focus. For the first time, Emily didn't feel like a victim. She felt like her father's daughter. Sam crossed his arms. "We'll need inside confirmation. Someone close to Ryan, maybe his accountant could flip if the pressure's right." Clara looked up sharply. "Trevor Cole?" Emily frowned. "Who's that?" "Ryan's financial gatekeeper," Laura said. "He handles every illegal transfer. If we get him, we get the truth." Emily's gaze hardened. "Then find him." As Laura shut her laptop, her eyes flickered toward an email notification. "Incoming transaction. Ward Holdings confidential audit inquiry." She whispered. "Someone else is already digging." Miles away, a trembling hand belonging to Trevor Cole hit delete, unaware that his next mistake would expose everything. Lightning flashed through the narrow window as Emily Ward jolted awake, heart racing. Papers were scattered across Clara's office. Contracts, receipts, blueprints, everything they'd uncovered about Ryan's fraud. She wasn't sure when she had fallen asleep, only that the storm outside had grown louder. The door creaked open, and Clara Reed stepped in, holding a small wooden box. Its corners were worn smooth, initials H.W. carved into the lid. "Emily," she said quietly, "Sam found this in your father's storage unit. It was sealed under your name." Sam Hayes, the loyal investigator, entered behind her, rain dripping from his jacket. "It was buried under old contracts. Took me hours to notice the Ward family crest on the lock." Emily's breath caught. She reached for the box, hands trembling. The moment she opened it, the air seemed to still. Inside lay a folded letter, a flash drive, and a tarnished gold pin, her father's old cufflink. Her eyes scanned the letter, her father's handwriting steady, confident. "My dearest Emily, if you're reading this, it means the man beside you has failed the test of love. You are my greatest creation, not the company, not the buildings, but you. Should betrayal ever come, remember this. I left you not just money, but proof. Inside this drive lies every transaction that built Ryan's empire, all of it tied back to my initial investment. It's time the truth belonged to you." Tears streamed down Emily's cheeks. The pain that had haunted her since that night, the humiliation, the emotional abuse, The feeling of being called dead weight all began to shift into something sharper. Purpose. Sam took the flash drive carefully. We'll decrypt it tonight. But Emily, this could expose everything. It's your father's final safeguard. Clara nodded. And it proves Ryan used Henry Ward's capital illegally. Once verified, he'll have no defense left in court. Emily traced the cufflink with her fingers. He thought my father died broke. He had no idea he was stealing from the man who built his future. Clara smiled faintly. Your father always planned 3 moves ahead. The room fell silent except for the hum of the computer as Sam loaded the drive. Rows of data filled the screen: offshore accounts, property transfers, bribes labeled as consulting fees. Each line was a nail in Ryan's coffin. Emily stood tall, eyes clear now. Then this is the beginning of his reckoning. Clara placed a steady hand on her shoulder. Be patient, Emily. Justice isn't loud, it's precise. Your father taught us that. Thunder rolled again outside, but this time Emily didn't flinch. Her heart no longer beat from fear, it pulsed with resolve. As Sam scrolled through the files, his brow furrowed. Clara, this last folder, it's marked Ryan's confession. He clicked once. The screen flickered, and a hidden video began to play. Ryan's voice filled the room. If anyone ever finds this file, it means I've been betrayed first. Emily froze. The storm outside went silent. He's mocking you on camera. Clara's voice cut through the dim-lit office like a blade. On the big monitor, Ryan Ward's face filled the screen, confident, smug, untouchable. His recorded voice played again. If anyone ever finds this file, it means I've already won. No one beats me, not investors, not the courts, not her. Sam Hayes slammed his fist on the desk. He was documenting his own crimes and bragging about it. He growled. That's not confidence, that's narcissism. The room vibrated with tension. Files littered every corner. Rain pounded against the windows, and the air was thick with adrenaline. Emily, Ward stood still, her arms crossed tightly over her chest. Her face was pale, but her eyes burned with quiet rage. He really believes I'm gone, she said softly. That's his weakness, he underestimates me. Clara took a deep breath, her tone steady but sharp. Then let's use that. We make him think he's still in control while we pull the rug from under him. Sam leaned forward, scanning the screen. Look here, he mentioned someone named TC during this video. He said, TC handled the Cayman wires. That's Trevor Cole, his accountant. If we get to him, we can prove every illegal transfer. Emily turned toward him. Can we trust him? Sam shook his head. He's loyal to money, not people. If Ryan's payments stop, he'll panic. That's when he'll talk. Clara pulled out a notepad and started sketching a timeline. Here's what we'll do. Step 1, make Ryan comfortable. Step 2, get Trevor nervous. Step 3, strike when the evidence is airtight. Emily's voice was calm but steady, echoing her father's wisdom. We'll need patience. This isn't just revenge, this is legal justice. I want him ruined in daylight, not darkness. Female resilience, strategic silence, long game, dignity under fire, they were no longer just words. They were becoming her weapons. Sam smiled slightly. I like the way you think, Emily. Just like Henry Ward, precise, patient, terrifying. Clara added. Your father used to say, the loudest man in the room is always the weakest. Ryan's laughter will be his undoing. Emily turned to the window. Outside, lightning forked across the skyline, illuminating the towering glass of Ward Enterprises. He built that company with my father's money, she whispered. Now, I'll reclaim it with truth. The office quieted. The three of them stood over the glowing table of documents, a map of fraud, shell companies, forged records, embezzlement. Every red line led to Ryan. Every dot was a piece of his undoing. Clara looked up. Emily, when this ends, you won't just have justice, you'll have his empire. Emily's lips curved into a faint, determined smile. No, she said. I'll rebuild it with integrity the way my father wanted. The computer beeped suddenly. A new message appeared on screen. Sam squinted. Incoming transfer from Ryan's firm to an unknown account. Clara frowned. Who's the recipient? Sam's jaw tightened. Trevor Cole. As the screen refreshed, a notification blinked. Trevor Cole has scheduled a private meeting with Ryan Ward 8 p.m. tomorrow, Clara whispered. He's about to make a deal. Emily's eyes hardened. Then, tomorrow, we make ours. He's meeting the accountant tonight. Clara's voice snapped through the office, jolting everyone into motion. Papers flew as Emily Ward, Clara Reed, Sam Hayes, and Laura Kim huddled around the glowing screen. The email alert from the last scene blinked again. Trevor Cole, private dinner, 8 p.m. at the Skylight Terrace. Sam grabbed his coat. If we miss this, he'll move the offshore money, and we'll lose every trace of the embezzlement. Emily, calm but pale, steadied herself. Then we don't miss it. We catch them both in their own trap. The team erupted into focused chaos. Sam pulled up surveillance maps. Laura opened spreadsheets of bank trails, tracing thousands of dollars from Ward Enterprises to shell accounts. Clara printed out affidavits, forensic reports, and notarized statements that would be needed if tonight turned into evidence collection. The office lights flickered. It was almost evening. Emily's reflection on the glass looked different now. Not fragile, but fierce. She touched her stomach briefly, then whispered to herself, "This is for you, Dad." Clara turned. "Emily, remember you're not here for revenge. You're here for justice. Ryan broke the law, and the law will break him." Emily nodded. "I'll let the truth do what my tears couldn't." As the tension eased, Sam loaded a small device into his bag, a hidden mic. "We record the conversation. Trevor's loyalty is already shaking. All we need is one slip," Laura chimed in without looking up, typing furiously. "And if we link his confession to the shell companies, the fraud exposure becomes undeniable." For a moment the rush slowed. The office quieted except for the hum of the printer and the city wind howling outside. Emily sat, hands clasped, breathing deeply. Her father's words returned to her. "When people lie, don't fight them. Let their lies burn themselves out." The lies were almost out of oxygen. Sam checked his watch. "It's almost time." Clara adjusted her blazer. "We'll divide roles. Sam, you handle the tech. Laura, stay on comms with me from the van. Emily," she hesitated, "you stay quiet until we signal. Tonight isn't about confrontation. It's about watching the guilty destroy themselves." Emily's eyes lifted slowly. "He called me dead weight," she said, her tone soft but heavy. "But the truth is what will crush him." Sam grinned faintly. "Then let's watch gravity work." They gathered their files, the plan now set. Outside, the city glimmered with gold light from the setting sun, the calm before a legal storm. Emily locked the door behind them, leaving only the faint glow of her father's letter still open on the desk. A single line underlined in his handwriting read, "Patience is the sharpest blade." As they stepped into the night, thunder rolled over the skyline, and Sam's radio crackled with interference. Laura glanced at her tablet, frowning. "Wait, Trevor isn't alone. Ryan's already there." Clara froze mid-step. Emily's heart pounded once, hard. "Then tonight," she whispered, "he walks into his own downfall." "Ladies and gentlemen, raise your glasses." Ryan Ward's voice boomed across the glittering rooftop of the Skylight Terrace. Camera flashes painted him in gold. He stood at the center of a crowd, investors, socialites, reporters, the same people who once praised him as the king of real estate. Beside him, Vanessa Hale, flawless in a red silk gown, looped her arm through his. Her laughter sparkled louder than the champagne bubbles. "To the empire we built," she purred. Ryan smirked, raising his glass higher. "To success, to freedom, and to never letting dead weight drag you down?" The crowd roared with laughter, unaware of the storm gathering around them. In the far corner, Victoria Hale, Vanessa's cousin and PR strategist, filmed the scene with her phone, live streaming to their investor network. "Show them power, Ryan," she whispered. "They love a confident man." Across the terrace, Trevor Cole, Ryan's accountant, sat at a small table, sweating bullets. His tie was too tight, his eyes darting between his phone and the champagne glass in front of him. Every few seconds, he checked the door, waiting for Ryan's signal. Ryan leaned toward him. "Did you move the last transfer?" Trevor swallowed hard. "Yes, sir, to the Cayman account under Hale Holdings." Vanessa smiled, brushing Ryan's arm. "Then tonight, we celebrate untouchable wealth." But outside, parked across the street, Sam Hayes, Clara Reed, and Laura Kim sat in a black surveillance van. The screen flickered with audio waves, every word captured through Sam's hidden mic in Trevor's cufflink. Got it, Sam whispered. Every illegal transfer, every offshore account, he's confessing publicly. Clara's voice was steady but cold. He doesn't even realize he's digging his own grave, Laura typed quickly, mapping each account in real time. Evidence stack complete. We can trace every dollar back to Henry Ward's trust. Back on the terrace, Ryan raised his glass again, basking in his arrogance. They said Henry Ward was a fool to trust me. But look at me now, his fortune rebuilt in my image. The crowd cheered. Public humiliation was coming, but he didn't know it yet. Vanessa kissed his cheek for the cameras. You did it, baby. You won. Ryan chuckled darkly. Winning's easy when you own the system. The audience clapped, investors, partners, and socialites drunk on illusion. But in the crowd, one face stood out. Blake Turner, the older investor from the earlier party, watching silently. His expression was hard, calculating. He whispered to a reporter beside him, "Record this. Every word." Ryan continued his speech, oblivious. By this time next month, Ward Enterprises will merge with Hale Holdings. I'll own everything the Wards left behind. The crowd applauded again, but Trevor's hand trembled. His phone buzzed. One message. They know everything. Leave now. He turned pale. Ryan noticed. What's wrong? Trevor looked up, eyes wide. We're being watched. Ryan froze. The laughter around them faded. Camera flashes stopped. Sam's voice came through the van's speaker. We've got it all. Call the press. Tomorrow morning he falls. As Ryan's smirk faltered and the crowd murmured in confusion, thunder rolled again louder, closer this time. Vanessa turned to him, whispering, Ryan, why are there police at the door? And from below, blue lights began to flash against the glass. Turn off the cameras! Vanessa Hale's voice cracked across the rooftop like glass shattering. The once lavish party had turned into chaos. Police sirens screamed below. Reporters pressed against the glass doors, their microphones flashing red lights. Ryan's hand tightened around his glass until it broke, blood dripping between his fingers. Who called them? He hissed. Everyone froze. Victoria Hale, his PR, manager and Vanessa's cousin, stepped forward, trembling. Ryan, the police said they have a warrant financial crimes investigation. They're asking for you by name. Vanessa's perfect posture crumbled. Her voice was smaller now, desperate. Ryan, you said everything was handled. You said the money was clean. Ryan glared at her. It was clean until someone talked. His eyes darted toward Trevor Cole, the accountant at the corner table, pale as paper, hands shaking. Trevor stammered. I didn't say anything, I swear. They have recordings. Ryan grabbed him by the collar. You fool, you were supposed to delete those files. The crowd gasped. Phones rose again. The same audience that once adored him was now filming his meltdown. The public mask was cracking. Meanwhile, across the street, Ethan Gray, a slick-haired journalist who'd been chasing rumors about Ryan's fraud, grinned behind his camera. This is gold, he whispered to his assistant. CEO meltdown caught live. Inside, Lila James, Vanessa's personal stylist, pulled at her arm. We have to go. Now. This will ruin you. Vanessa shook her head violently. No, I can't be seen running. If the cameras catch that, Victoria interrupted sharply. Too late. They already are. Ryan turned on Vanessa. You wanted fame? There's your spotlight. His tone dripped with venom and humiliation. Tears blurred Vanessa's mascara as she hissed. Don't you dare blame me. I risked everything for you, my career. My name. He stepped closer, eyes cold. And I risked my empire for a woman who thought love was leverage. A stunned silence followed, heavy with betrayal, arrogance, and the collapse of control. Outside, Ethan spoke into his mic. Breaking story. Ryan Ward, once hailed as the face of corporate success, now under investigation for embezzlement and fraud exposure. Authorities confirm new evidence linking Ward Enterprises to illegal offshore accounts. Reporters flooded into the lobby. Flashbulbs exploded. Ryan shielded his face, shouting, No comment. I said no comment, Victoria whispered fiercely. You need to leave before they take you in front of everyone, Ryan sneered. No one takes me down. Not cops. Not her. Not anyone. He stormed toward the elevator, but police officers were already blocking the exit below. The murmuring crowd split like water, leaving him stranded in the center of the floor, surrounded, cornered, and exposed. Vanessa's knees buckled. "Ryan, what have you done?" He didn't answer. His face had gone pale, almost hollow. For the first time, the man who believed he controlled everything looked afraid. As officers reached for Ryan's arm, one of them spoke into his radio. "Copy that." The warrant was issued by Emily Ward's legal team. Vanessa's head snapped up in shock. "Emily?" she whispered. "She's behind this?" "And far away." Emily closed her laptop, whispering, "This is only the beginning." "Order in the court." The judge's gavel slammed like thunder. The sound echoed through the packed courtroom, where Ryan Ward sat at the defendant's table, face pale, fingers clenched. Flash bulbs from the press outside the glass walls still flickered through, creating a strobe of shame across his face. Across from him, Emily Ward entered calm, composed, dressed in a tailored navy suit that mirrored her father's old style. Her presence silenced the room instantly. No tears, no tremor, just dignity. Beside her stood Clara Reed, her lawyer and ally, carrying a thick folder labeled Ward vs. Ward Enterprises. Behind them sat Laura Kim, the quiet analyst who traced every stolen dollar. This wasn't revenge anymore. It was legal justice. Ryan's attorney sneered, "Your Honor, my client maintains that Mrs. Ward is emotionally unstable and seeking publicity. This case is nothing more than a personal vendetta." Emily's calm voice cut through. "If justice is vengeance, then truth must be my weapon." Gasps rippled through the spectators. The judge, a stern woman with silver glasses, adjusted her robe. "Proceed, Miss Reed." Clara stepped forward, placing a single envelope on the judge's bench. "Inside this, Your Honor, are forensic bank records, emails, and a signed affidavit from Trevor Cole, Ryan Ward's own accountant. It confirms a decade of embezzlement, forged narratives, and illegal transfers from the Ward Family Trust." Ryan's face drained of color. "That's a lie," Clara continued coolly. "It's also proof that Mr. Ward used Henry Ward's investment to build his empire while forcing my client to sign an ironclad prenup he knew was void under fraud. Every transaction he made was financed by her father's legacy." The courtroom erupted. Reporters scribbled, cameras clicked, and Ryan's attorney stammered, "Objection. Overruled," the judge said firmly. Clara opened the envelope and handed the judge a single paper. "Here is the clause Mr. Ward forged to remove Mrs. Ward's inheritance rights. And here," she lifted another document, "is the notarized version signed by Henry Ward himself. Authentic. Verified." Ryan slammed his hand on the desk. "You can't do this. I own Ward Enterprises." Emily looked at him for the first time in months. "No, Ryan, you managed it. I own it." The words landed like a verdict. The crowd gasped. Even the court reporter paused mid-typing. The judge adjusted her glasses, reviewing the papers. "This case will proceed under full financial review. But at first glance, Mrs. Ward's evidence appears irrefutable." Ryan's voice broke. "Emily, please." She turned away, her tone like steel. "You taught me silence was weakness. Today it's my strength." As the judge lifted her gavel again, she said, "Court will reconvene tomorrow for financial sentencing." But outside, the courthouse steps swarmed with cameras, and a police escort was already waiting. Clara whispered, "They're not just reviewing him, Emily. They're arresting him." "You can't arrest me." Ryan Ward's scream echoed through the marble lobby of the courthouse. Two uniformed officers stepped forward, flanked by cameras and reporters. His expensive suit was rumpled, his hair slick with sweat. The man who once ruled boardrooms now stood cornered beneath the blinding flash of justice. Detective Howard, a composed and firm officer, raised his badge. "Ryan Ward, you are under arrest for embezzlement, fraud, and forgery under federal law. You have the right to remain silent." Ryan shoved one officer aside, panic in his eyes. "You think you can parade me like a criminal? My lawyers will bury you all." Before he could say more, a calm voice cut through the chaos. "No, Ryan, this isn't a parade. It's a reckoning." All eyes turned. Standing near the courthouse steps was Henry Ward's estate lawyer, Mr. Grant Hale, an older man in a gray suit who had once represented Henry before his death. His eyes were cold and unyielding. Your empire was built on stolen foundations. It was only a matter of time before it collapsed. The crowd gasped as Mr. Grant handed Detective Howard a file, stamped Ward Holdings Clause 17. Asset reversion. Under this clause, all misused Ward assets revert to the original trust, Mrs. Emily Ward's trust. Ryan's face twisted in disbelief. You can't. This is a setup. Sam Hayes and Clara Reed, standing nearby, watched silently. Sam whispered, "That's the final nail." Clara nodded. Justice served in daylight, just like Henry wanted. Emily appeared at the top of the courthouse steps, her figure framed against the sunlight. The once timid woman he'd called dead weight now looked untouchable, calm, radiant, and unbroken. Ryan stumbled forward, shouting at her, "Emily! You think this makes you powerful? You needed me." Her voice was steady. "No, Ryan, I needed peace. You just taught me what strength looks like." The crowd erupted into murmurs. Cameras zoomed in, catching the moment the officers clasped handcuffs around his wrists. Public humiliation, accountability, and downfall converged into one poetic image, the king stripped of his crown. Ryan's voice cracked, desperation replacing arrogance. "Emily, please don't do this. I'll lose everything." She looked at him one last time, her tone soft but resolute. "You already did." As he was led away, Vanessa Hale, the mistress, watched from a distance, tears streaking her makeup. For the first time, no one came to her defense. Reporters swarmed, microphones flashing. The whispers in the air were merciless. "He's finished. She won. Ward Empire collapses overnight." Emily stepped down the stairs slowly, her hand brushing the railing. The crowd parted for her, not out of pity but respect. As Ryan was shoved into the police car, Detective Howard turned to Emily. "This doesn't end here. There's still the sentencing hearing." Emily nodded, her voice low. "Then that's where he'll finally hear the truth in front of the world." And far across the city, banners already hung for the upcoming charity gala for Ward Foundation, where every secret would come full circle. "All rise!" The courtroom erupted with movement as the judge entered, robes sweeping the polished floor. Ryan Ward, handcuffed, was escorted in by two officers. His once expensive suit was now wrinkled, his confidence broken. The air was thick with tension, a storm about to break in front of the world. Flashes from media cameras outside the door reflected through the glass walls. Reporters whispered like vultures waiting for the final drop of blood. On the front row, Vanessa Hale, trembling and pale, gripped her lawyer's arm. Her red lipstick was gone, replaced by the color of fear. At the prosecutor's table, Judge Stevens adjusted his glasses, his expression firm but unreadable. Beside him stood Prosecutor Lennox, known for his merciless approach in high-profile cases. The judge's voice echoed, commanding and sharp. "This court convenes to deliver sentencing in the case of the State versus Ryan Ward charges: embezzlement, forgery, fraud, and breach of fiduciary duty." Ryan's head hung low. His lawyer tried to whisper comfort, but his words fell like dust. "Mr. Ward," the judge continued, "you built an empire on deception. You stole from those who trusted you and from the woman who shared your home. Before we proceed, do you have anything to say?" Ryan looked up, eyes glistening, voice cracking. "Your Honor, I lost my way. I only wanted success to be respected. Please, I'm not a monster." From the gallery, a single voice answered softly, "Emily Ward." "Monsters never think they are, Ryan, until the mirror cracks." The courtroom turned toward her. She sat tall and composed, wearing black not for mourning, but for closure. Dignity under fire and female resilience radiated from her. Vanessa looked at Emily across the aisle, tears rolling down her cheeks. "Emily, I didn't know it would go this far," she whispered. Emily's eyes didn't waver. "You helped him destroy what my father built, but he destroyed himself." The judge struck his gavel once. "Enough." Prosecutor Lennox stepped forward. "Your Honor, based on the evidence, including financial records, notarized affidavits, and witness testimony, the state recommends a full conviction with no suspension." The courtroom fell silent. Then, in one decisive motion, the judge raised the paper. "Ryan Ward, you are hereby sentenced to 5 years in federal prison, restitution of all stolen assets, and permanent removal from all corporate boards." Gasps filled the room. Vanessa buried her face in her hands. Ryan froze, as if time had stopped. His empire, his pride, his illusions gone. The judge's voice lowered, each word heavy as stone. Let this be a lesson: greed destroys the greedy, and truth prevails. Reporters surged toward the aisle. Cameras flashed wildly. In the chaos, socialites whispered among themselves, "She's the new owner now. Ward Enterprises is hers." Emily rose quietly, walking past Ryan without a glance. For once, his eyes followed her, not with hate, but regret. As Ryan was led away, reporters shouted Emily's name. She turned once, eyes calm, and said, "My father built this legacy on honesty. I intend to rebuild it with compassion." Outside, the sound of camera flashes grew louder, and at the end of the hallway, a golden banner shimmered under the light. "The Ward Foundation Charity Gala tonight." "That's her, Emily Ward." Reporters swarmed the grand marble steps of the Ward Foundation Charity Gala, flash bulbs bursting like fireworks. The night shimmered with gold and tension. Every guest, every camera, every whisper turned toward the woman walking up the crimson carpet. Emily Ward moved through the chaos in a sleek black gown, calm, poised, and radiant. No longer the trembling wife who'd been thrown out into the cold. She was now the head of the empire her father built, the woman who turned betrayal into rebirth. Beside her walked Clara Reed, her loyal lawyer and ally, smiling proudly. Laura Kim, the financial analyst, stood just behind them, clutching the final restoration documents. Together, they had rewritten the ending. But from the crowd, a broken figure stumbled forward. Ryan Ward, dressed in a plain gray suit, escorted by 2 officers. The court had allowed him one brief appearance before his transfer to federal prison. The press exploded with flashes. Gasps rippled through the air. Ryan's voice cracked as he called out, "Emily, please, just listen." The officers hesitated, glancing at her. The entire crowd froze, watching the once powerful man plead before the woman he destroyed. Emily turned slowly, her expression unreadable. Dignity under fire. "You wanted to speak, Ryan. Say it." He stepped closer, voice shaking. "I lost everything, my company, my home, my life. You've proved your point. But please, I can't lose you." The crowd held its breath. The world seemed to pause. Emily's voice was soft but unflinching. "You didn't lose me, Ryan. You threw me away the moment you called me dead weight." Ryan's eyes filled with regret. "I was wrong." Clara stepped forward protectively. "Mr. Ward, that's enough." But Emily raised her hand gently. Her gaze never left him. "You thought power came from control. My father taught me it comes from truth, kindness, and integrity. That's what you'll never understand." Ryan dropped to his knees, tears cutting through the arrogance that once defined him. Cameras flashed like lightning. Reporters whispered, "She forgave him publicly?" But Emily shook her head. "Forgiveness isn't weakness. It's freedom. I wish you peace far from my world." The officers lifted him gently. Ryan looked back one last time, whispering, "You won, Emily." She met his eyes. "No, I healed." As the doors closed behind him, the gala lights dimmed. Emily turned toward the stage. The orchestra quieted. The guests rose in applause as she stepped to the microphone. "This foundation," she began, "isn't built on revenge, but renewal. My father believed wealth should heal, not harm. Tonight, we relaunch the Ward Foundation for women who've been silenced, betrayed, or broken. Because silence," she smiled faintly, "can build strength." The audience erupted in emotion, standing ovation, tears, pride. In that moment, female resilience, grace under pressure, and justice served merged into a single truth. She had reclaimed her legacy. As the applause thundered, a soft breeze swept across the marble floor, brushing against her father's portrait beside the stage. Emily looked up, eyes glistening. "You were right, Dad," she whispered. Patience was the sharpest blade. And for the first time, the silence was not painful. It was peace.